Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, and I'm back to bring you another episode review from Season 7 of The Loud House. So let's get right into it. Today's episode is an Inspector Falls. In this episode, Luan is cast for the lead role of a detective in a school play, but then she has to solve a real mystery when she believes someone has it out for her co-star Amy, or so she thinks. This is Luan's first major role of Season 7 since the road trip arc, and this was one of her more unique episodes where it mostly centers around her love for theater. So according to Mrs. Bernardo in a recent mystery about her missing lunch, Luan apparently has the qualities of a real detective that made her the perfect choice to play the lead in a school play about a detective. Seems like a phoned-in way of trying to get the central concept of this one specific episode in motion, but that's pretty much what the entire story was going for. The episode is set up as a classic whodunit story, with Luan doing some investigating on who could have rigged a sandbag to fall on one of her co-stars during the rehearsal for an upcoming theater performance. Honestly, I had my doubts about this nearly halfway through. Luan does the usual process of looking into the likely suspects who might have had a motivation for going after Amy, all of whom she deduces to be innocent, and then it looks like Amy's boyfriend Rex was the one responsible for the crime when it looked as though he had rope burn on his hand. Seemed like an open and shut case with a hint of, well, that seemed a little easy. And then I saw there was 5 minutes left in the episode, so I knew something bigger and more surprising was going to unfold. That's something I appreciate about the story, it not being very predictable. The writers could have easily stretched out the conflict to eventually build to Rex being exposed as the perpetrator, or they could have done something incredibly easy like having a disgruntled Shannon be the culprit because she was bummed out about being cast as a bush instead of a more interesting role. Neither of those two things happened, so that's a positive. But anyway, after the supposed mystery was solved, Mrs. Bernardo decided to have Luan and Amy switch roles because she believed Amy had stellar investigative skills. That seemed rather off-putting because Luan was doing most of the real detective work. The most Amy did was being the first one to notice her boyfriend's apparent rope burn, thus reaching the supposed conclusion to the mystery and then breaking up with him. I'm pretty sure Luan would have reached the same conclusion had she looked at Rex's hand first instead of Amy. Either way, a very dejected Luan became the secondary main character of the play while Amy was given the lead, but that's when Luan started to realize there was more to the sandbag mystery than she realized. She does more investigating and she concludes that it was actually both Rex and Amy who conspired together to make sure Amy got the lead role in the play. Luan points out how the stage marker where the sandbag fell had purple markings on it, the same color as Amy's nail polish. Then she noted how the scissors used to cut the sandbag rope were for a left-handed person, but she noticed Rex writing with his right hand, so he couldn't have been the one to cut the rope. This I found a little confusing because the scissors didn't look left-handed or even right-handed when the camera zoomed in on it. Either it was an animation error or I just wasn't looking at it correctly. Regardless, Luan proves Amy used the scissors when she catches an umbrella with her left hand. Next, she reveals how Rex had actually used red stage makeup from Amy's dressing table to give the illusion he had rope burn. And finally, Luan placed flowers on Amy's dressing table with a card signed her loving boyfriend, and then she noticed Amy and Rex hugging shortly after. This proved those two had been working together all along. Amy breaking up with her boyfriend following Rex's confession was all an act to convince everyone she was the victim and Rex was the villain. Sort of a crummy move to throw your own boyfriend under the bus for the sake of getting the lead acting role, but Rex went along with the plan anyway, so whatever it takes, I guess. In the end, Amy owns up to what she had done and why she did what she did. Luan once again becomes the lead character of Agatha Mystery, Amy takes on Shannon's role as the bush as her punishment, and that meant Shannon was going to get recast as well. She was given Amy's role of Gertrude, the sidekick to Luan's character and the role she wanted all along, so Shannon getting a happy ending after being depressed about getting cast as a bush for the umpteenth time was very satisfying to see. Overall, depending on who you are, this whodunit style episode may come off as a tad convoluted when looking at how the mystery unfolds and is subsequently solved. It also seems a little unsatisfying knowing Rex never received any on-screen discipline for his involvement in Amy's plan. Even so, I can appreciate the story for not going for an obvious ending and thus building towards a more surprising revelation. Luan's performance was pretty good, and I liked how minor recurring characters like Amy and Rex had a chance to be in the spotlight. On a side note, the idea of Luan getting pushed out of a lead role in favor of someone else reminded me of what happened to her in Music to My Fears. I know it's not the same scenario because her one role got permanently replaced, and the other role she landed was initially taken away, but she eventually got it back by the end. I'm not trying to make a continuity connection between these two episodes per se, it's just something I thought of as the story played out. So between Luan working as a detective and Benny really committing to his role as a corgi, even to the point where he said he was going to use a fire hydrant to go to the bathroom, this was still a fairly average episode. episode. Not Luan's best for the 7th season, but it's certainly nothing to complain about. With that said, I give An Inspector Falls a 7.9 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of An Inspector Falls. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.